And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners May 8, 2014 business meeting. I want to take a moment to remind everybody that it is VE Day. This is a great victory in Europe, an incredible victory for the world at that time. And I want to give it up to our veterans, whom we will soon celebrate. But remember VE Day, because I happen to watch the History and Military Channel a lot, I admit it. But I was reminded what a special day this was for the liberation of the world in this particular case. Mr. Krepp will now do the roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Bernard?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Savas?
Here.
Commissioner Schrader?
Here.
Chair Ludlow?
Here. Please rise with me and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. There's no comma after nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The order of the agenda today is citizens' communication, then we'll have a presentation, and then a public hearing and consent agenda. Commissioners' comments after that. So we'll start with citizens' communication. I'll call you up in twos with two on the deck. It's Les Poole, and Sherry Hall. Sherry Hall. Our county clerk is going to speak to us today.
Thank you. So you first. He said your name
Go
first.
right ahead, Chair, that's fine.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chair Ludlow, Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Schrader, Commissioner Savas, and Commissioner Bernard. I thought this was a good place to come and give you an update of where we are with this election. The ballots were dropped at the post office last Wednesday, so they started hitting mailboxes last Thursday. And as of this morning at 9:40, our turnout is 8.22%. And that means we've received back 18,623 ballots out of 226,667. This primary election in the governor's race is typically about a 35% turnout. We would love to boost that to the presidential general, which is 85% turnout, because these elections aren't free. We pay a lot of money, and participation is good. Ballots need to be into all the drop boxes, any drop box or the elections office by 8 o'clock May 20th, which is 12 days from today. And if anyone did not receive their ballot, they should contact our office, because there's lots of reasons that may not have happened. If you've moved or not voted in some years, you might not have gotten one, and we can update your information. That's really all I have to say about it. I just wanted to give an update on the election process, and all the voters that are listening, please turn your ballots in.
Commissioner Savas?
I do have a question for the clerk.
Okay.
And that is, based on that 8.22% at this point in time, is there a trend or a tracking that you can make? I mean, are we off?
We are about right for this election. The law changed as to how soon the ballots can be mailed out. So this is about normal trend, even though the ballots were dropped one day earlier. It's slow. This is kind of the heavy at the beginning. It really is slow until the end, and we can never predict how many will turn them in on Election Day. But the sooner you turn them in, the more returns, which is the closest to the end result, will be on election night at 8 o'clock.
Commissioner
So-
Schrader?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention is the trend largely that it starts out slow and then towards the end, when people start to think about it, and even now voting together a lot of times, discussing things around the table, which is
Voting
actually
parties, yeah.
which is an interesting trend because people will actually sit around the table and discuss how they're going to vote and do it in front of each other. It's a voting party, which is really interesting. So I guess I'm wondering towards the end, you'll see a big increase then in
Possibly. You just think about it yourself. What is the hottest issue on the ballot that people can't wait to vote on? Is there one this time? The city of Damascus has something big. It's just depending on what you're voting on.
Okay.
But it's a good way to announce to people to please get the ballots in.
I'd heard there was a multiplying factor, like the first Monday after they're mailed, times 4, that's going to be the percentage you end up. Is there any kind of crazy?
I've not heard that before.
I just
I'll
made
maybe
it up,
check that out.
actually. I guess, I don't. Okay, anybody else with the county clerk? I want to thank you, Sherry, for giving us the update.
Thanks for the time.
Just for the fun of it, if you don't mind, sending to the BCC, let's say, at least a couple times before the final election, what percentage that is that you've received? That'd be great to know, I think.
And that brings up one more point. All of this is online. We are updating
Make
every
us go
day.
online, huh? Fun.
Yeah, so you just get into the election website and you can find that.
All right. That's
Same
good
as
to
our
know.
results on election night. They'll be posted about 8:05 with the first results.
Yeah, for those who've never gone to that website, it's very convenient, updated as fast as they can, but it's great to know at 8:01 what it says at the Clackamas County website, and then just click on elections.
Right. And on election night, with our first returns at like 8:05, we're not going to update every hour because we pick up the last drop boxes at 8 o'clock. It takes them up to an hour, depending on how far away they are, to get into our office, and then we go through them and get them ready for tally. So the next return probably wouldn't be posted for 3 hours.
3 hours
After 8
after
o'clock.
8:05?
Right.
Wow, okay.
But you will see the returns updated also, so you'll know how many are left to do if you don't see that final update.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Mr. Poole?
Thank you, Sherry. Russ Poole, Clackamas County. I want to talk today a little bit about Metro. And you've heard me talk about Metro before. It's just an organization with a budget that's approaching $500 million taxpayer dollars a year. They do a good job with some of the parks. They do a good job with certain aspects. But their track record on regional planning is far below mediocre. And if you look behind the curtain, behind the scenes, you'll find that every Thursday, including today, they have a meeting and there's virtually no one in the room. Their outreach has always been very lacking, in my opinion, given the power and authority they have. Metro's hands are all over the Damascus fiasco. Regardless of your opinions on light rail, the Milwaukee light rail project is not what it was originally supposed to be, and at $1.5 billion, we're not getting a good investment. One of the reasons people aren't voting is they don't feel involved. They don't feel like they can make a difference, and I want everyone out there to know you can. It certainly changed some things in the county here. It was the citizens that went out on their own and took the initiative to do so. We just saw a measure in Tigard where the citizens didn't say no to light rail. They didn't say no to anything. What they said was, if you're going to spend a fortune in borrowed dollars and remake our community, we're going to weigh in on that. And I would anticipate that in Tualatin, we're going to see the same results soon. In the meantime, Portland is forging ahead. They're ready to spend $650,000 studying and keeping planners busy. and what's going to happen when they get to the Tigard city limits, the Washington County line. So we need to change Metro. I'm here to reform Metro. If all goes well with the meeting today, tomorrow we will be filing a statewide petition that certainly won't eliminate Metro, but it will return land use authority and the urban growth boundary decisions to the local jurisdictions, which is you and the cities. We have a small, powerful political clique. Now, interestingly, I've been getting mailings campaign mailings, and I know how campaigns go, but one of them depicts Paul Savas as a big fan of the Milwaukee Light Rail, and he's in bed with Metro. And when I got this first flyer, I kind of chuckled, knowing my involvement with Paul in the past. I'd recommend that all of you do what I'm doing. When you get this nonsense, tear it up and ask the campaigners to explain what they're going to do rather than how they want to nitpick their opponents. And when that happens, we'll also see more voting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next we have Yvonne Lazarus.
Good morning. It's been a while since I've been here, and I want to speak to you about the vote also. You know, there were a lot of little sayings flying around last year. Well, I have a saying for you. You reap what you sow. You reap what you vote. You reap it later, and you reap it more. People need to pay attention to who they're voting for, what they're voting for. Now, I have always been real upset with the fact of things that have gone on that concern light rail and Metro. And I'm telling people, do not vote for Carlotta Carlette. We have what we have in Milwaukee because of Carlotta Carlette, Deborah Barnes, and Jim Bernard. And I do believe, I'm very, very, very disappointed, Paul. I do believe you've crossed over. I do believe that. And I'm not one to go behind anybody's back. And when I get done talking, if you want to take a shot at me, take a shot at me. I also want to speak about the dispensaries. There is no reason for marijuana to get a special little shack for people to go get their medicine. They can go to the pharmacy, like where all the other medicine is. If it's given by a doctor, then you go to the pharmacy to get it. I'm not against them having it. I'm just saying, I don't want a backdoor way in for any kind of drug. We have enough problems like that already in this county. And thirdly, there is a group of people I want to speak about, and they're called the first-timers. They're your vets, they're your next door neighbor, they're your people from the age of 40 going up forward. These are people who have become homeless, and they have become homeless because of the fact they've been laid off. They've worked their whole life, and they've had to go through their savings, they've lost their homes, and the services that are out there, they're not working. And I know this personally, and I will be back to speak on this again. Thank you.
And now, thank you, Yvonne. Nice to see you back again. We now have a presentation. Mr. Krupp.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have a presentation regarding our outreach efforts on the Clackamas River. I'm going to invite Tracy Moreland from Public and Governmental Affairs to come up and present to you the program, including a video.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tracy, Moreland, Public and Government Affairs. Here today to talk briefly about the key points in our recent Owl River Action Plan created by the Clackamas River Enforcement and Ecology Work Group, or CREW for short, and we will show a short video. With the recent nice weather that we've been having, it's a good time to remind folks we have a parks ordinance from last summer that's still in place. Last August, the board amended the county parks ordinance prohibiting alcohol in county parks except in designated areas with a permit to also allow for visual inspections of personal items. The CREW work group, which is made up of staff from county programs and many of our partners, has been meeting for several months now to discuss ways we can raise awareness not only about the ordinance itself, but about river safety and river stewardship. Since meeting with the board on April 8th, the CREW team is moving forward on some of those key initiatives, and they include a life jacket loaner program and a multi-use kiosk at Barton Park, new signage at the parks with safety and alcohol and drug-related messages, outreach on the web, in the media, and in citizen news, which I think is in mailboxes this week. Plans are also moving forward to expand the Stash the Trash cleanup bag program through the Clackamas River Basin Council. The Northwest Jet Boaters and other partners will coordinate trash barrel locations between Barton and Carver, and of course there will be an increase in the sheriff's presence in the parks. Anyone who wants to read the entire action plan, it's posted on the BCC staff's presentation page on the county website, and again, that's from April 8 study session. In addition to highlighting the action plan items, today we wanted to kick off the busy summer season with a new video. Clackamas County Cable and Public Affairs has partnered with the Clackamas River Basin Council to create a new video, and it's called A Cleaner Clackamas River. It features interviews from property owners and the Sheriff's Office Marine Unit, and it talks about some of the changes they noticed after the ordinance was amended last summer. And I think we can play that now if you're ready.
I'm Chris Tabor, and I'm a property owner along the main stem of the Clackamas River, and I have 6.34 acres most days.
My name's Bob Toman. I've lived here for 37 years, so we moved in like 1978, and we're right next to the Clackamas River, as you can see. It kind of was a dream place for me to move to.
Yeah.
What?
Tell her who you are.
Yeah. My name is Buck Baker. This is Mary Kay. We moved here 6 years ago from Atlanta. We have 33 acres, almost a mile along this side of the river that we continually clean up.
The Clackamas River is so close to Portland, and it has a huge reputation throughout the Pacific Northwest and British Columbia and California as a party river. And it's an experience that if you're a partier, you want to go and participate in. And it has forced the residents to have to assist in the party.
There's some of these groups that come down, they tie their rafts together, and there's like 20 rafts tied together, and they got a great big stereo going, and it's loud. And, I mean, they're having a blast, don't misunderstand me. But when they get done with their beer can, they just chuck it in the river instead of putting it in a garbage bag.
I haven't rafted the Clackamas that I live on in 10 years because I can't go out and enjoy the surroundings here. The moment the ban went into effect, everything dropped off. There was families again on the river.
It's become a much more family-friendly place. There's not the wild and riotous behavior that we've seen before. There's less trash.
It was tremendous to have a break, and to have a rest, and to think that maybe we can enjoy our own properties again.
One of the best things about it was all the publicity that we got, and people who love recreating on the Clackamas River have actually taken steps on their own to help. I saw a lot of rafters who began picking up the bags and picking up trash on their way down. People actually who live in Clackamas County and use the Clackamas River kind of came and helped started taking care of it. And that was really encouraging and great to see.
If we want to continue with good drinking water, good habitat for fish, we really, all of us need to pay attention to these things.
Not only in terms of the fish, but it's the birds and the ducks and the geese on the river. And so it's their habitat as well. So, you know, in our minds, it's how do we preserve it as natural as possible and as clean as possible for all of us to take that responsibility, because the river actually belongs to everybody. It's not our river or their river, it's everyone's river.
We hope the ordinance doesn't keep people from coming and having a good time on the Clackamas. The water is all of ours. We should all enjoy it together. We just have to learn how to enjoy it responsibly and with respect to others. And I think this is a really good step in that direction.
So that was the short version of the video, and if you're interested in watching the full-length version, it's currently playing on the Clackamas County Government channel, and we have it up on the county's YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Clackamas County. You can see all of our programs. So, Commissioner, some of the local property owners who graciously agreed to be interviewed for this program you just saw, they're here today. I'd like to introduce Buck and Mary Kay. Buck Baker, Mary Kay Coles Baker, Chris Tabor, and Bob Toman. And also Sergeant Thurlman is back there, I think, yes. And also Cheryl McGinnis, who is a partner with us on this video from the Clackamas River Basin Council, is here. You want to stand and be recognized?
I think one of these movie stars also should come up and speak. So, Mary Kay, I saw the poison oak on your property right over your shoulder when we were looking at you. No, I'm just making it up. But if any of you would like to come up and say a few words, I appreciate that that was wasn't necessarily scripted, but there's probably much more to it, as they said, a longer one. But if you want to come up and say a few words, that's fine with us. Oh, come on, Buck, you really want to? Oh, Bob, yeah, okay.
Thank you. I'm Bob Toman. I live about 11 miles up the Clackamas River. The state police and county police, marine patrol occasionally use my property to inspect the rafts that are coming down for safety equipment and things like that. They get quite a bit of action when that happens. It's fun to watch when they walk down on the beach. There's a long beach in front of my house, gravel bar. Then when the police come down there, the people just kind of melt into and disappear. It's pretty fun to watch that. Anyhow, the problem mostly is the trash. There's a percentage of people that have had too much to drink or too many drugs. Most of the people are having a good time, but they're just trashing the place. When I first moved in the late 1970s, every morning during the summer I would fill 2 big garbage bags full of trash. It's not changed. It's beer cans, pop cans, bottles, potato chip wrappers, sunscreen, shoes, sunglasses, everything. It's just they just dump their raft over to get the water out and leave it all. I know that the problem is going to exist and continue to exist if they just do Carver and Barton. They're just going to move someplace else on the river. And so it's not a real easy fix. And it's something that's going to take a while to really figure out. The numbers of people have increased, but it's always been huge. And on your warm weekends where it's approaching 100 degrees, there's thousands of people come by. You ought to come to my house and sit and watch. It's quite a show. And like I said, almost everybody's happy, but they sure are messy. And the river cleanup guys fill rafts and rafts and rafts of beer cans, and they're light in the water, and they collect in certain places on the river. And above my house, just a short ways, is one of those spots, and the river is just absolutely silver with them. There's tens of thousands of cans.
Well, Bob, we appreciate all of you participating, especially being here today. It was rather a bold move by this commission to do what we had to do, we felt, and we certainly took a lot of criticism for it. But, you know, I often said, I think during that, your rights end where mine began. And certainly that includes the river's right to be what it is, a pristine, wonderful river that has been abused by others, to get back to its more natural state. Commissioner Schrader.
When is the river cleanup this coming year going to happen again? Cheryl's going to come up.
Chris,
and
did
answer.
you want to say something?
Do you want to say something too? Okay.
Yeah, as soon as she's done, or Bob can move. Thank you.
And I just wanted to mention Sam Deborah walked in, he's in the back, and if you want a kayak on the Clackamas, he's the go-to guy with ENG kayaking. Sam, I need a new kayak, okay?
I have several businesses I'd like to promote at this time. No.
No, but I just want to thank all of you guys for being partners in in the beautiful river, because it's kind of stunning to be able to recreate on it appropriately, and all your hard work pays off. So, okay. Hi.
Thank you for recognizing the Down the River cleanup. It is an event following a summer recreation season, initially created by Kayaker Group, including Sam Drevo. So thank you for that recognition of Sam Drevo. We love clean rivers and the Clackamas River Basin Council. This year's event, as always, is the first Sunday after Labor Day. And we generate over 350, 400 volunteers for this one-day event, and it removes tons of trash out of the river as well as the river banks. Featured on the video were volunteers on our river banks of the main stem. These individuals that were recognized as celebrities, they also are very engaged in good behavior, stewardship of the river, as well as our volunteers, countless volunteers. We have a long-term relationship with the county agencies that have supported the activities for cleanup throughout the summer recreation season, including the Sheriff's Department, Marine Sheriffs, and individuals from Portland as well as Clackamas County. Thank you very much for the support from the county. And I did want to share that we hope to be reducing the amount of trash taking out during the Down the River cleanup by establishing the Stash the Trash Bag program, where we have stands of Stash the Trash Bags for people to use throughout the summer recreation season.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Good job. Yes, excellent idea to see if we can, you know, it's one thing to, as Bob was talking about, to eliminate the rowdiness, but the behavior still needs to change, and that's the toughest thing to change in people. I think we'll all agree. Yes, Chris.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. I have all the same problems that everyone else along the river has, but they are magnified by the time everyone gets to the end of the float. And I am only about less than a quarter mile upriver from Carver Park, which is the takeout point. So everyone is on our beaches, and we don't mind sharing them as long as they don't break wine bottles and threaten us, as long as they aren't, we aren't needing to be heroes and rescue them, sometimes multiple times in one summer evening. We don't mind it too much if they accidentally leave a little bit of trash, but when they turn over their coolers and leave everything, including yucky food that's been in the sun all day, you know, I really want to thank you for having talked last year when you were making this decision about glass.
Seems like a no-brainer, but the broken glass takes me hours to pick out of the rock and the sand, and we just become civil servants that we aren't trained for. We aren't rescue people. We're not EMTs, but we're right there doing all of it all summer long, especially my little neighborhood, because we're at the end, and this really needed attention. Thank you.
Do we get to come to your property and observe the heyday as well?
Please do. I would much rather someone I have met once was there and that they came with one of these bags.
Well, the commissioners have all been up with Sergeant Thurman before, except for myself. I have observed it from the bank. But Commissioner Sabas.
Just want to reflect back, just to share your experiences somewhat, not anywhere near at the gravity and the length that you've all have suffered, but Commissioner Schrader and Commissioner Bernard and myself went out with the sheriff's deputies one summer afternoon and experienced it firsthand. I think it was 3 hours, and it was just non-stop chaos. I mean, we were being called everywhere, and there were, frankly, more calls than there were deputies to respond. People trespassing on the property. Their behavior when they're intoxicated it was quite unruly, and it was not pretty. And watching people, drowning, kind of going through. And what do you do? And so and we actually rescued. I mean, we dragged someone in the boat and carried and carted him across the river to get to paramedics. And fortunately, he survived. But it's a little bit mind-boggling, so I definitely sympathize with the situation there, and I think protecting that pristine river itself is of the utmost importance, and hopefully behavior will change, and people will respect that and limit. Hopefully, my concern is that some of that littering and garbage will continue. I think that's unfortunate, but I think we need to do a better job of trying to make that people
better
aware
behavior.
to be respectful of what that is and enjoy their day, enjoy the river, but at the same time enjoy the beautiful surroundings and not destroy it.
I've heard families floating after the ban went into place, and families have returned as groups, and it's so wonderful, and you will hear them singing kids songs and floating along, and that took the place of all the profanities and the negative anger that was happening. So thank you.
Well, I want to thank you all again for coming, and can't wait to watch the long video where you had a little bit more time to be stars. We have one more hand up there. Mary Kay, you want to come up and say a few words?
I'd like to add just a little positive note.
You guys were so reluctant initially when I asked you to come forward.
I know it, but we all have a lot to say, believe me. Yes, all the issues that you've discussed are very apparent. But one of the things that we're doing, and we have a place called Chrysalis Farms, and we bring children out, and through Cheryl and her staff, we have Fred the Fish. And what they do, Morgan has this water jar, and she shows children what it is like to pollute the water. So one of the efforts of trying to keep the river clean is helping young children understand what actually pollutes the water. And so she's adding she uses brown sugar for a pollutant as an example, or paper little dots. But by the time the water, it starts out clean for Fred, and he's just a sponge fish. And it starts out clean, but by the time she's finished, it's actually murky and almost syrupy. So children are beginning to learn what it's like to trash the river. And so if we start teaching young kids about what it means to keep the river clean, I think that's also a very positive way of influencing good behavior. And thanks to the River Basin Council, we have that little program going on our farm when we bring children out. So that's just a positive note about what we're doing too.
Excellent. I think what people forget about rivers and streams is, sure, they are important, but the riparian zone adjacent to them is equally as important. Those escarpments can be a huge problem for the very pollutants you talk about, and that is just earth.
Right, and it's not only Fred the fish, but it's the ducks and the geese, and it's wonderful to see the flocks come and land and how people really appreciate them, and particularly when we bring children out, they begin to enjoy nature in the very natural habitats, and keeping it clean.
What was the
is
name of
extremely-
that? The Christmas what?
Chrysalis, like the butterfly.
Oh, I thought you said Friends of
Chrysalis Farms.
Chrysalis Farm, okay.
Mhm. It's the butterfly, and we call it Chrysalis Farms as we bring children out in this little cocoon, and they transform to butterflies.
Indeed they do.
And so Fred the Fish is part of our program, thanks to
Excellent.
the
Great work.
River Council.
Again, thanks for the neighbors to, again, really to confirm to this commission that they made a bold move and a good move for the citizens and for the public who want to enjoy that river. Thank you very much for corroborating that for us today. Next, we will have a public hearing. Mr. Krupp.
Yes, this is a public hearing that partially involves a matter related to the presentation you just received. It's to consider first reading of an ordinance that would amend Chapter 6.06 relating to park rules of the Clackamas County Code and a request to declare an emergency. Kathleen Rastetter of the County Counsel's Office and Mr. Rick Gruen from County Parks are here to provide a report to you.
That was Rick Gruen. Right on time, Rick.
Good morning, Commissioners. One of the things that we noticed, and it was the ordinance itself, Chapter 606, which is our County Parks Ordinance, and our citations. And this is, coincidence to the alcohol enforcement policy, but one of the things that we had discovered was that the citations, for whatever reason the deputies were issuing citations, there was an inconsistency in the ordinance itself, in the language of the ordinance. And in one section, for the form of the citation, it prescribed 20 days response time from the person who was issued a citation if they were going to contest the fine. However, the second part of the ordinance section that dealt with the process prescribed that the person receiving the citation had 14 days. So by form and process, we were inconsistent, and unfortunately, the citations at the time followed the ordinance, and the hearings officer was kicking out the citations for that inconsistency. So it's really, hopefully, in your eyes, a procedural housekeeping issue that we're proposing in the amendment, that we correct the language in the ordinance, 6.06.06, I believe is the actual ordinance number. And we have proposed that we go to the lesser amount, or the 20 days, not the 14 days. So it will allow the people who do receive citations to have 20 days to respond to the citation or pay the fine. Kathy?
Yeah, it's just to make it consistent, and we went with the longer time period to give the citizens more time. And so it is a bit of a housekeeping error that we just didn't catch last time. That's the first portion of the ordinance change that's before you. The other portion is to 6.06.04, and it's to, as it explained, lengthen the time that, or shorten rather, lengthen the time that people have to do reservations, because we're able to do them more. It shortened the time that they have to put the reservation in by, sorry, I got that backwards. But because we have computer capabilities now, we can do them faster. So the benefit is to the citizens that they don't have to reserve campsites or whatnot out as far. They can make their reservations quicker than they used to be able to.
Basically,
That's a good thing.
with the online reservation system that we have, folks can track on real-time capabilities to that, and so it eases up some of the restrictions or lengths that when we were doing it much more manually. Now you can just get online and see what's available, make your cancel your reservations 3 days prior, or where it was requiring a longer period of time, because people, we weren't losing those spots. Other people can then slip in and take those spots. So it's really a benefit to everybody. It's much more efficient for us. It's much more efficient for the users of the online system. So we're requesting in the ordinance change that we reservations for camping and picnicking must be made a minimum of now 3 days in advance. Before it was 2 weeks, so it gives some greater flexibility, last-minute decision-making that folks have that want to come to the park, so they can make their reservations now just within a matter of days. And then we also made cancellations, instead of requiring cancellations within 3 weeks of their visit, they can now do it 2 weeks in advance. So it gives them, again, greater flexibility to their schedule and needs.
Commissioner Bernard.
I think it's important to note that even though they don't have to make reservations out as far, that assumes there will be available spots. They should make reservations as far out as possible, and
Correct.
they have that capability.
Right. The ordinance in our code is that you can make reservations up to 1 year in advance.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important because I'm sure those camping spots are often reserved way out. I know that in state parks, I mean, the one that is near Nehalem is over a year before you can get in to some of those spots. So you have to I just want to make sure people know, reserve them early.
Commissioner Savas.
So I don't have any quarrel with anything that's in here. Don't have any respect everyone involved with this. But someone please explain to me, and I mentioned this Tuesday, I just don't want to see process misused. And so I need a better explanation of why or how this is an emergency, or what the benefits or ramifications are of an emergency process versus a non-typical hearing where we give everyone opportunity, keep the record open for people to comment and go through a normal procedure. So I don't want to put anyone in a hard spot, but I'm just trying to understand why. I just don't want to see that process abuse. So when a real emergency comes along, people will realize that this is of significance. So explain to me, please.
I think to answer your question, if we were going to from 20 days to 14 days, we're making it more restrictive. I can certainly see a greater, hearings time, or the 90 days. But the emergency, if you will, is that recognizing that we did find the inconsistency in the ordinance itself, and that the park season is, we're getting ready to open the park season up here in another week, is pretty much what we consider our opening day. And and hopefully we never have to issue citations, but with the deputies coming into the parks next week, we need to make sure that they have proper citations that they can use in the parks. And if we waited the 90-day period, we're now kind of at the end of the summer, so we'd be operating all season with citations that we know that the hearings officer has determined are inconsistent, because one part of the citation, the way it was written to the ordinance, these were the old citations from that we needed to reprint. One part of the citation says 20 days because it was referencing a certain part of the ordinance. Another part of the citation had the 14 days, so we had a citation that had both 20 days on it and 14 days on it. So we're really correcting the ordinance that was however long it was in ordinance that way. And from a time perspective, we caught this as soon as we could. We've gone through the steps to get this to your attention, and now the park season is opening in a week, and 90 days will put us into September.
So question for council: if we were to not be unanimous today and carry this over to next week or 2 weeks, that does not trigger the 90 days, does it?
No, and in fact, I want to make clear, this is just the first reading, and there is going to be a second reading, which would be, I believe, in 2 weeks, May 22nd.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be unanimous today. And I just also want to add that it's to the citizens' benefit to, if they do happen to get a citation, it's to their benefit to have the longer period of time to respond. And have it be clear, because right now the citations that we have are not clear. And we won't have new citations by next week, obviously, because we have a second reading on the 22nd, but we could get them right at the beginning of the season versus the end of the season, which is the 90 days. And so it is to the citizens' benefit to have that change happen as soon as possible.
Okay, so further clarification, so that if we vote unanimously today, there's still going to be a second hearing?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Rick, thank you.
Thank you.
At this particular time, I'll show you how controversial this is. I'll open a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak on this matter? I close the public hearing. Now, before the wishes of the commission, let's go through these very simple changes. It is certainly to the benefit that we, as soon as possible, correct the citation process. Otherwise, what people will know out there during hot weather is it's a freebie. If you're issued a citation, it ain't any good. Now, that doesn't make any sense. And the second portion is to make it easier for people to use online services. Easier, better for them, better tracking, and also to give the public an opportunity to catch those ones that have been canceled online. We do a lot of tough decisions here, and controversial ones. This is not one. And there's absolutely no reason why we should delay this any period of time longer than necessary, considering that warm weather is nigh. So you'll find me voting for this. What are the wishes of the commission?
Are we ready for a motion?
Yes.
I've lost the page.
I move we read the ordinance by title only.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Savas and seconded by Commissioner Bernard to read the ordinance by title only. For any further discussion? I'll ask the clerk to call the poll.
Commissioner Bernard.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Chair Ludlow.
Aye, passes 4-0. I'll ask the clerk to assign a number and read the ordinance by title only.
Okay, this is going to be ordinance number 02-2014, an ordinance amending chapter 6.06, Park Rules of the Clackamas County Code, and declaring an emergency.
All right. Let's see, I'll announce that there will be a second reading of this ordinance. It will be on May 22nd at the regular scheduled business meeting. Okay, so just so we all know that the process is working well. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Commissioners.
And now, the consent agenda.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Oh, I'm going to read it first.
Oh, yes, that's right, sorry.
I'll ask the clerk to read the consent agenda. I should have said it right away by title. Thanks, Martha.
Okay, the consent agenda under Health, Housing, and Human Services, a board order approving the mental health director designee to authorize a custody hold under ORS 426233. Department of Transportation and Development, a board order adopting the vacation of Steel Lane in Government Camp. Elected officials, approval of previous business meeting minutes. Approval of amendment number 2 to the intergovernmental agreement with the District Attorney's Office and the State of Oregon for the improvement of quality of juvenile dependency proceedings. Approval to submit a grant application for the Victims of Crime Act project grant for the District Attorney's Office. Approval of amendment number 5 to the professional services contract with Clackamas County Sheriff's Office and Horizon Health for jail medical services. Request by the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office to enter into an annual operation plan and financial plan with the USDA Forest Service for cooperative law enforcement services in the Mount Hood National Forest. Business and Community Services, Amendment Number 1 to the Intergovernmental Agreement with Oregon Solutions, Portland State University for the Clackamas County Food System One Stop as part of the county's Agriculture Investment Plan Strategy. And Water Environment Services, approval of a professional services agreement between Tri-City Service District and MWH Americas, Inc. for the Willamette Pump Station Rehabilitation and Conveyance System evaluation. And that concludes the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mary. And do the commissioners want to pull any item? I'll ask for a motion.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Schrader, seconded by Commissioner Bernard. Any further discussion?
I'm a little concerned why a road, Steel Lane, gets a vacation.
Oh, man. For those reading that, it does appear like that they've taken a hike, at least from our ownership, right? Any real discussion on these items? Otherwise, Mary, please do the poll.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Bernard.
Aye.
Chair Ludlow.
Aye, passes 4-0. And now, it is Mr. Krupp time. I want the public to know I gave Mr. Krupp a Ironman 3 Tony Stark pair of glasses, and I'm real disappointed that you're not wearing those today for us, Tony.
If you like, I could go back to my office.
They're 3D, too, which would really help probably today in this meeting. Go ahead.
It's important to be able to see in 3 dimensions as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, yes, it is.
So I've got several things for you. One is to make you aware that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And of course, Clackamas County collaborates with a number of community partners in delivering services and addressing the needs of individuals and their families that face mental health issues and concerns. We work closely with the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and we also work closely with the Sheriff's Office. Then we work with many nonprofits in the community who serve children and adults throughout the community to make sure they are able to access effective quality services. We do training in the community using Centerstone as a training location for community members about mental health. And our clinics provide critical outpatient services to individuals who suffer from severe and persistent mental illness. In addition to that, we also work with schools in Clackamas County where we help to provide mental health services in school-based health centers. And then finally, our community solutions programs help to provide on-the-job training and development for people who experience barriers to employment that may be affiliated with mental illness and associated challenges. So it's a great collaboration throughout the county involving a number of partners. May is the month to acknowledge the hard work that our employees and our community partners do to serve the needs of the population in the county that suffer from mental health issues. So there's that. I also wanted to give you an acknowledgement of our Water and Environment Services Department. And on behalf of the Clackamas County Service District Number 1 and the Tri-City Service District, we have received the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association. So each of the districts was awarded a Certificate of Achievement in Excellence in Financial Reporting, and these reports are judged by an impartial panel which recognizes government agencies that demonstrate a constructive spirit of full disclosure to communicate financial reports and motivate the public to engage with our financial story here in Clackamas County. So this is actually the 21st consecutive year that they have received just such an award. So congratulations to the staff there. And then I want to let you know that almost as we speak, we are putting in the finishing touches on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2014-2015. And very shortly, I will be forwarding to you the rather voluminous document that represents. I expect that you'll have it all read over the weekend and memorized. I'll have more details to share with you next week, but I am happy to report to you that the condition of the county's general fund continues to look better and better, and I think that has a lot to do with the state of health of the local economy, but it also has a lot to do with you and the hard work that the staff have been doing in preceding years in dealing with the challenges that we've faced with the economic recession. We've positioned the county well, but as a result of what appears to be in improving outlook, I am able to recommend for your consideration more proposals to fulfill unmet needs than I had originally expected. So I'm feeling particularly positive about that. And my focus on these recommendations will key into areas addressing youth and family needs, along with measures undertaken to strengthen the county's financial management infrastructure. So you'll see that in my recommendations. One of the things that we're benefiting from is a one-time infusion of general fund dollars that have arrived late during the course of this year that I believe will be helpful in advancing our work on the county's strategic plan. And also, I'm going to suggest we consider setting some of these resources aside to help us address maintenance and repair needs that face some of the county's aging building infrastructure out there. So I'll look forward to sharing with you the reasons underlying my suggestions regarding those recommendations when we get to start with budget deliberations in earnest on May the 27th. I got two more items. Stone Creek. I am happy to report that our Stone Creek Golf Club was recently recognized and ranked as one of the top 3 eco-friendly golf courses in the nation. So Golf Now highlights how the course has integrated natural wildlife corridors in its design, how it employs a state-of-the-art pest management program, and how it conserves irrigation water there. They also note that it's got rather affordable green fees, so that's good marketing out there for our golf course. And then finally, I got a neat little note forwarded to me. We had a gentleman call the commissioner's office just to let us know, and I'll read this to you, how lucky we are to have Rick Nice, working with the county. He has worked with this gentleman, and he's very pleased with the outcome. Rick, of course, works in our Department of Transportation and Development in the engineering area, and so I just thought I'd share it. It's always great when you get somebody unsolicited who just calls the office to tell you that a county employee did a great job.
I might add, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put those in. That's great to know.
So that's the
conclusion of your remarks today?
That's the end of my remarks.
All right. And Commissioner's communication, we'll start with Commissioner Bernard. Work down the line.
Great. The first thing I'd like to talk a little bit about the budget and the Excellence Award on the audit. You know, it's been a challenge over the years to get the audit done on time. We did get it on time, and I'd say this is the first year that the audit committee has presented some proposals that the county ought to look at, and one of those is a person through the treasurer's office who would audit particular departments should, you know, and we can just move those around and make sure that things are done correctly. But, you know, in the budget process, we had a very tough economy. And Clackamas County did so much better than a lot of folks because not only have we reduced staffing levels, but we have put money in reserves and invested in things that returned, you know, the greatest good. And I think, you know, this is my 6th year as a commissioner. You know, we did some amazing things, and I was very optimistic last year. Some people may not have thought that this year would be that good, but it turned out to be exactly that. And you know, I kind of do my measurements on my neighborhood, frankly. When I walk down the street, I remember shortly after I was elected, we walked down the street and all this land's sitting there, nothing's happening. And I remember saying, do you think anything will ever happen here? Now I can't even figure out where that is anymore. Things have changed so much in my neighborhood. Matter of fact, every house that's built is sold almost before the doors are put on. So it's just amazing. And that apartment to housing issue that was happening in Wilsonville, that is not going to take long to turn around because they are building. My understanding in that old church property, 160 homes.
Frog Pond?
No, the one by Villebois next door. It was a non-denominational church with that big building they tore down. I can't remember the name of that.
Oh, Living Enrichment Center.
Yeah, Living Enrichment Center. And, you know, as many as 700 homes in Villebois area. So it's just amazing. But Clackamas County should be proud that we probably exceeded many counties in our finance, making sure that we were on solid ground. So, you know, we should be very proud. And not only that, we enhanced, we opened a family justice center to address domestic violence and abuse of senior citizens in a time when most people probably wouldn't have done something like that. But with great partnerships from our nonprofits, we've been able to do an amazing work. So I'm very, very proud of that success. Last week I couldn't attend this meeting because I was at a marijuana summit put on by AOC, the Association of Oregon Counties, and LOC, the League of Oregon Cities. It was a very good conference. Got lots of ideas, and we'll be presenting that material shortly in a work session. But we need to get ahead of this. I watched a show last night on Colorado and what's happening in Colorado, and the marketing things that people are doing to get people in their marijuana facilities, including cotton candy marijuana and gummy bear marijuana. I think this is a problem we need to be ready to address, and where they're located and how often. It was funny. I expected somebody to say something about my property today, so I brought this. And on the front of one of my buildings, it says "Got Pot."
What?
Well, they used to sell. It was a building I leased. They used to sell gardening equipment and pots. And it's funny how times have changed. This was a long time ago. The times have changed a lot. But anyway, I'm proud of the work the Audit Committee has done, the Budget Committee with our 5-member citizens. We have some new folks on. I'm excited about working with them. And I'm excited that we won't be making major cuts. However, one of our departments did let a whole bunch of people go, and that's too bad. And anyway, I'm excited for the first time in 6 years to be able to really focus on programs that with proven success and measurable outcomes. And I look forward to it.
Thank you. Commissioner Schrader.
Well, it's great to be here today, and I have a couple of things I want to say, particularly that deal with economic development and workforce. The first piece of it is that on April 24th, all our partners in the agricultural one-stop, which we officially call the Clackamas County Food System One-Stop, we had a signing at one of our local farms with all the cooperating entities together, and this is part of our agricultural investment plan. And what we're trying to do is to make sure that our farmers get all the information they need from wherever they need it. And instead of having a sticks and bricks building where everybody was co-located, we decided with our partners that a virtual building, if you will, with the new technologies was the way to go. That declaration of cooperation that we worked with Community Solutions and Portland State University has been signed. And we are working with Clackamas Community College that now has an urban farming education piece with what they do to train folks in horticulture and farming techniques. And we also work with Marylhurst University that now has a new master's degree in food systems. How do you grow it? How do you transport it? How do you get it to market? How do you have a local fresh food system? Clackamas County, since we have a huge agricultural cluster here, farming, we have the largest number of small farms in the state. We also have nurseries and actually small woodlot owners and timber. We are really working hard to make sure that what we do best in agriculture gets showcased and that we're helping folks along with that. The next thing kind of moves more into the high-tech field. I had an opportunity this past Saturday to attend Clackamas Community College's information session on MoCap, which really is short for motion capture technology. This technology is brand new. It's actually Clackamas Community College with the county. We're the only group in the state that has this new technology at the college level, whether it be a four-year university or a community college. This technology records the movements of objects and people. It has military, entertainment, sports, and medical applications, and essentially human actions animate digital character models, or if you ever saw the movie Avatar, that's kind of what we do. Why do we have this here now for workforce? Because it is an emerging new technology cluster here in Clackamas County. Places like Funnelbox Media use it down in Oregon City, as well as Super Genius, which is a gaming company. And what we're finding out is that the film industry and the media digital industry is seeing us as a place where they like to locate, because we are actually training a workforce in those technologies. So that's, at least for me, for workforce and economic development, that's been pretty exciting, and we hope to build on those clusters. Finally, I'm just going to briefly, since I can and I'm an elected official, just make a few political comments. And here's what I want to say. It's the silly season right now, where we get all kinds of mailers, all kinds of information. I did have folks in my community get a mailer recently with the other candidates that are running for commission, and I think we all know who those folks are. One part of it I thought was very appealing, because I think what it did was professionally outline, what people had to offer the county. And I certainly think that as we campaign, that's the best way to do things. Let's professionally say, well, this is why I think I'm a good candidate. I didn't have any issue with that. I did have an issue with the piece, though, that characterized some of my colleagues here as being dysfunctional, as it's their fault we have a lagging economy. I just spoke about economic development. Actually, we're not lagging here in Clackamas County. We're actually a huge innovator in economic development. All 3 counties suffered through a downtime because we had a major recession in 2008, and we are recovering beautifully. But the characterization of that was really disturbing to me, because we are all working together on this commission to be functional. We are not a dysfunctional commission. We disagree on certain things, and sometimes, quite frankly, we can be rather entertaining as we do so. Well, so what? This is Clackamas County, and it's always been this way, as long as I can remember it. Okay? Seriously. So I like working with the people I'm working with. I have no problem with political folks who think, they want to move into another job, certainly telling us what their positive attributes are. But I am really hoping that this stops. I'm just sick and tired of all the negative stuff. Okay, put your best foot forward. Please don't go after any of my colleagues on this commission, and that's across the board with everybody. I really, I don't want to show the piece. I do, briefly, I have it with me. Because, I really don't want to encourage people to look at the negative part. The last thing I will say, I suspect this was highly likely what they call an independent expenditure, and that is where a third party actually rolls in and does something, and it may very well be that none of the candidates actually knew what was going to be in this. But I did find it offensive. We are a good commission. I hope we all continue to work together, and that's all I'm going to say. Silly season's going to be coming up for some of my colleagues and myself in a few years, and I'd really like to change the tone and tenor of how we campaign here in this county. I think it's time. I don't know. I'm sick and tired of negative stuff, and I suspect a lot of other people are too. So that's the news from the Clack. Okay.
And thank you, Commissioner Sass.
So I just do want to encourage people to vote. And when you get your voter's pamphlet statement, take a hard look at it. If you do get some of these ridiculous flyers in the mail, Google the information. I think the record speaks for itself. I know the Oregonian does a great job. They've assigned a reporter for years to Clackamas County, and those folks have done a great job of capturing actually what really has happened over the years. would like to speak a little bit about the economy, and we are poorly positioned compared to the other three counties. I mean, truth be told, we are digging our way out of this. Not having the land available to retain current employers or to bring in new employers is something that takes years of planning, and not having the highway transportation funding or the plans in place to build those roads takes years to repair. We need to make a concerted effort to, and we are, but it takes years to get that underway. I'm proud to say that we have the Sunrise project underway. I think that's going to be ultimately a job producer, permanent jobs, let alone the construction jobs. We have road projects underway, things that I have advocated for underway. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that the board here has supported those projects for the most part, maybe not all of them. So as far as rebuilding the economy, I think that's key. The numbers are coming back from the employment department. Things are picking up, and it's a really good sign. There are industries that are looking to land here. I did join Commissioner Schrader at the motion capture event. It's a great technology that was there. I viewed one of the facilities, one of the businesses here locally. They're trying to increase and build their labor pool so they can bring people in and do more. But it is a specialized trade, it's a specialized industry, and helping that industry by virtue of the state incentive package that's been put forth for the movie and film industry. It's been an economic generator, and it gets Oregon on the map nationally, increases tourism. There's a lot of benefit to having film and media take place here and showcase some of our wonderful sites and our beautiful state that we live in. I did have some pretty decent attendance last night at our Commissioner Roundtable, and they promised they'd be back, and I expect they will. And I hope, again, that people really bring the very things that are on their minds. I mean, I don't want to see, and it has sometimes, the Commissioner Roundtable has been dominated by, one issue or another, but for the most part, it's been varied. But it is an opportunity to bring issues forward, whether it's noise issues, or something that's bothering you, or maybe something that you like that's going right. But I know it was a beautiful afternoon yesterday, and probably the last place I'd want to do is come inside a building and not be outside and enjoy it, especially around supper time. But nonetheless, the first Wednesday of every month, we have the Commissioner Roundtable, and at 5:30. So I encourage those to bring as many issues that are on your mind, something that's bothering you, bring it forth.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Savas. Well, I'm kind of the back cleanup guy, so the first thing you should all know, pay special attention, the Clackamas County Justice Court is, I should say, finally relocating to 11750 Southeast 82nd Avenue, Suite D, Happy Valley, Oregon. So that will happen on May 19th. They will be locating next to On Point Credit Union near the Max Station behind JCPenney in the Clackamas Town Center. For directions or questions, please call 503-794-3800. When I first took office, I think every commissioner was well aware of what the Justice Court looked like, and it was abysmal. It was scary to the employees, and really wasn't centrally located. This is all of that now. It's very heartening to see the problems cured in that way. Just real quickly, go to the BCC Town Hall. The next, I know this is a ways out, but it's good to remind people that, and it seems like our attendance at these town halls has been increasing, which is great. And the next one will be September 10th, and will be at Estacada City Hall, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., 475 Southeast Main Street in Estacada, hosted by the Estacada Chamber of Commerce. I want to mention that Estacada on Broadway is the proud host to the Fearless Brewery. Just want to put a plug in for my friends over there.
There you go.
Might as well.
The brewery and then the kayaking.
We got them both in. I don't know if they go together, but that's such
Oh,
as
yeah,
good.
they do.
All right, real quick. I had an invitation from PGE, all of us did, to go to on their PG hydro generation project tour up the Clackamas River. It took most of the day, but it was fantastic to go into some of those generators to see how big they are, staggeringly big, 3 or 4 times the size of a person in height. Many of them are over 100 years old and still generating power. There's a tremendous power generation that PGE does on the Clackamas River, but unlike a lot of rivers where, even the Northwest, where there is no fish run, there's a fantastic fish run on the Clackamas. From coho, steelhead, salmon, everything you can imagine. And PGE has had to take care of those fish and their generation. Amazingly, up the Clackamas, you will not find this in we were just talking about the Clackamas earlier, but you won't find this in rivers across America. But 90% of the fish that are in the Clackamas are native. And the way they do that is they cull out the bred fish and use them and relocate them to keep the upper river absolutely pristine and natural. And it's really great to hear those numbers. Up at Faraday Park, if people know where that is, it has an absolutely great kids fishing pond up there at Faraday Lake and Faraday Park. And PGE stocks that, so I encourage people who want to take their children fishing, Faraday Park on the Clackamas. But what was interesting is they closed the park where you could normally rent boats, a platform swimming area. They've closed that because they are building a $21 million fish intake that will be floating and portable. It's at least 35 feet high, and only 3 feet of it will be above the water. So when you see that floating platform out there, what it's doing is encouraging fish to please come up this way so we can drop you by our hydro generation turbines and downriver where they are safe. Again, $21 million just for that project, so PGE has invested greatly in that. I went to the Gladstone Library Advisory Committee meeting along with Mr. Krupp. They're making good progress. There was a vote, and it was divided. So what? That happens with us. Really, so what? They are getting along well. The Gladstone will be formulating their plans based on that input and bring forward a decision whether to go out in November and for how much and where the facility would be. Yesterday, the commissioners took a tour of the Tri-City Sewer Plant, a fantastic facility, mostly underground, all enclosed. If you look at that facility, it looks like commercial buildings. It does not look like a sewage treatment plant. And other than a few odoriferous encounters, it was very fascinating, and I think the most fascinating part always is the sewage treatment plant is what they pull out of there. Yes, there was a Pee Wee Herman doll, marbles, cell phones, everything you can imagine that gets flushed down toilets, and improperly, I might add. Stop that. I'm a member of the Regional Disaster Preparedness Organization Policy Committee, and they're meeting tomorrow. Fascinating to meet with leaders throughout the region to plan for the big one, or even a small one. I mean, really, that's what this is all about. I want to announce that there will be a memorial dedication for Grady Waxenfelter. It will be on May 16th, that's a Friday, up here at the Red Soil campus in Oregon City off Kane Road, K-A-E-N. It will be at 2 p.m. Now, I think you all remember, or you should, that Grady Waxenfelter was a waymaster. He stopped a truck, and the man got out and really executed Grady Waxenfelter. They haven't found him yet, but they will. And we are doing a memorial dedication of a tree planting and also naming the Fleet Building, the Grady Waxenfelter Building, in memory of this man. I went to his funeral, so to speak, and it was indeed a most touching affair, where this huge church was filled to overflowing, and they had 2 more big rooms with TV broadcast of what was there. I believe most of the commissioners were there that day, but what an incredible loss to have a county worker. I mean, it's one thing to lose them on the job because of natural causes. It's one thing for them to retire and die from natural causes, but to be snuffed out by a man that, once they get him, will not walk the streets again for a long time is really a tragedy to this county. Last couple things. One is, it was mentioned the Citizen News, and this is one of the best issues of the Citizen News. For those of you out there, grab a hold of that thing, because one of the most valuable things in there, we talk about veterans, we talk about particular needs out there, and that H3S every year prints out phone number list for almost every situation the public can get themselves into where they're needy. So I recommend that you grab a hold of that one. It's, like I say, otherwise a very excellent issue. I want to mention real quickly on the parks thing, that loaner life jacket thing. And you rent them for $1, and if you think about it, anybody who came to that river without a life preserver and rents one for $1, for goodness sakes, go ahead and take that with you, because evidently you're a bonehead going into the Clackamas River where it's so cold. I mean, you will get exposure sometimes, but we're glad that as an innovative idea to bring forward loaner life jackets for those who are challenged in some way. I want to thank the Sheriff's Office for their diligent administration of the ordinance that was put in place in regards to drinking alcohol in Clackamas County parks. It's not easy to do that. We were accused that the cops will be going through everything, and I remember reading one thing where their grubby hands will be on my cooler. I will tell you, having watched this, the officers simply say, "Could you please open your cooler?" If they do, they might say, "Could you take off the first layer so I can see what's underneath it?" But our police officers, our sheriff's officers, do not get into your coolers. They simply ask what you got in there, and I think that's reasonable, and obviously it's been very, very effective. I don't, Mary, did I miss anything today? I think I got everything. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, be careful. It's wet out there. It's spring. People are sliding around, but the good weather's coming. I appreciate you being here today and or listening to us today. There being no further business before this commission, this meeting is adjourned.